I feel like easing into the shot will keep me from messing with my face and getting a really bad freeze frame. Hey everybody, how are you? Like, oh, let's just breathe. I don't know why, but I'm just like super tired. This is just like the title says it is. I brought some stories along in case you guys don't have any questions or, everybody's busy right now. See, I brought stories, I wrote them down. I'm probably just going to take up a nice lackadaisical. I've been working on that word. It's like I can't say certain words, so I've been working on it. Yeah, we did it once. It was on camera. It's just a kind of a fluff hour. I just wanted to step in and say hey and say hi and make it, energy here and keep a heartbeat going, keep a pulse going on the porch. So I don't exactly have an agenda. Like I said, I packed my fanny pack full of little stories for about an hour. So first of all, I think I definitely just want to be open and transparent and tell you where what the Porch Church is doing and some visions that I have. So soon, the Porch Church will have a website to go to in the next few months. The website will be a whole entire, about what the Porch Church is, and then there's going to be a tab to find all the videos and information and all the mana medicine. And then I've got some movements, some real hashtag movements that I'm going to be putting on there too. So be sure to keep a lookout for the website in a couple months. I'm sure I'll be the first one to tell you when it's ready to go. But I've got two grand ideas I'm looking to push, to fruit from the tree, and the tree being the porch. So that's awesome. And also with that website comes a store. So it's not only the brand, the porch, but it's also a lot of really cool sayings that make people stop and stare. It's awesome. So if you want to use t-shirts as a way to speak something and make people think like a work of art, then the porch store is going to be a place you're going to love it. There'd be a lot of spiritual gear there, 1111 gear, bumper stickers, t-shirts, and swag, if you will. Swag for your spiritual journey. The official spiritual shop, if you will. So that's come in the future. I also am realizing that myself, I'm kind of a pocket knife. And in a pocket knife, there's a bunch of different tools, but all those tools make up one tool. And Jesus pointed that out to me a while back. So there are aspects of my personality that don't really have a place to grow and go. And I'm going to mend that because, hello, that's why the porch. So I realize that I give out, I realize that I give out God medicine and I give out things like that, spiritual medicine, and we talk and we do storytelling and I understand that, but I love music, so I also want to pinpoint. I keep a place over on YouTube, also the porch. I'll put a link up on this video in the comment section, but it's called Porch Music, and there's awesome jams in there. I know you guys will like. The people that I listen to generally fly right underneath the radio radar for maybe 2 to 4 years before they're kind of found, and then we hear them on the airwaves. So it's kind of a creaky back door. If it was whiskey, it's in the back to the left. That's the kind of music I listen to, and I offer that to you as well. So I'm gonna start having more music. I'm also an artist, so I want to paint and show you guys that. And also, I'm inviting any painters here on the porch to reach into your creative house and start painting. If it's not something that you've been doing, then make time to do it, because that's all kinds of self-love. And I'm going to do it too. So I forget through all the work that I do that I forget that I have a natural ability to paint and to draw, and how cathartic that is for me. So I'm also going to start putting artwork. You guys' artwork, my artwork, I'm going to make a whole thing for it where we can put it virtually and have that. So music, art, and the other facet of my personality is I'm a comedian. I've been known to be quite funny in my day. However, it's kind of a dichotomy to who I am as far as a spiritual educator, spiritual leader, and a spiritual teacher. My comedy is a bit off-colored and kind of frank, but funny as heck, like a son of a gun. So I'm trying to capture my lightning in the bottle, the moments that I'm funny, and really work on a skit, and have that for you too. So this is a church, and church is synergy, and a whole is greater than its parts. Aristotle. And I know that that's what Jesus has for me and this church as the capital self, for you as an individual, for us together, for all religions to sit in one teepee and hand over the truth, and it's all one piece again. A whole is greater than the sum of her parts. So I want to keep offering parts and bits of me. So, and I know that where I am, you are. So there'll be more music, more musical guests on the porch. That's starting in the fall. Some comedy, that's starting in the fall, and artwork. So if I just jazz one of your jams, then get a hold of me, and we'll start growing here on the porch where we don't judge. So the porch is a church where you're growing, and we're not pretending, and we're focused on more of what we're becoming, not what we've done. And yeah, for that. So, what's up, Mitch? Yeah, I called you out. Then just hanging out in my room. So if you're just tuning in, this is just and it has no trajectory. I'm just here putting a pulse on the porch, saying hi, I'm here. And I brought some stories along in case I'm all by myself, just me and the squirrel in my pocket. So anyway, that's a viewpoint on where the church will be going in the future. So there's plans. And I'm hoping to be the first church along with you guys. Church is a trinity of energy, and you can have that anywhere. And I want to be unlike any other church. And it's not just, when I say I, it's not an arrogant thing. Take you with me, we as a group. Where there's me, there's we. Flip it, it's reflective. So I'm hoping to gather up a lot of like-minded spiritual souls who understand that we do not need the box of religion to openly love the Lord like an open circle. And that we take medicine from every part of the world, every religion, and we take love wrapped in it all. And that's just what this church stands for, love. And Jesus. I always have to give him credit. So I'm hoping to be the first church that actually exists out there in the world, and not really in a virtual platform. I'm hoping that that we exist out there in the world. It really is a place to kind of catch people at the fork of the river. Because what's happening now, and it was happening 7 years ago. There's going to be an overused term, and we're going to get tired of hearing it, but it's the truth. There's a global awakening that is happening within people, a global consciousness that's now starting to happen out loud where we can see it. Well, 7 years ago, it was happening to a lot of individual people, myself included, under the current. And now that it's up on the top water, it's easy for everybody to see that we're headed to a conscious breakdown so we can have a conscious breakthrough. And, there's a map for that. So I'm hoping to kind of build a little spiritual haberdashery at the fork of the river. There's going to be a point where we're going to have to choose, and it's either going to, self-love, narcissism and choose you, or you choose to love your brother and love yourself. And, religion splits from spirituality. I'm just going to make a little fort in the fork of the river and stay right here to catch anybody that comes through that kind of falls out of the religion house because they fell into the spirit. And you and Jesus are spirit, and you and Jesus can be anywhere you and Jesus passenger truck, he'll be there. If you want him on the edge of the bed while you sleep when you're 36 or 6, he'll be there. And that's the amazing thing. The living spirit's yours to have, and all the time. And I don't know about you, but I did not need a brick and mortar building to get me there. And I'm not talking about churches. I'm just like, I'm not a big fan of religion. So, anyway, like I said, I brought some stories along. And I'm just being, this isn't really, like I said, this doesn't have any trajectory. I'm just being here with you. If I pulled up out front in my awesome car and banged on your door, we would just come outside and sit down, and we'd probably just, quote, shoot shit. So that's what I'm doing. And it gives me a chance to get to know you guys too. So there was, in case you didn't catch the news flash, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I inadvertently deleted all my YouTube content, and I had 40 videos at 20-30 minutes per video. It was a lot of work. It was the last 3 years of a verbal portfolio, and I cried. And then I kind of understand, like a mandalia, how the monks blow the sand away. I thought, well, there goes all my work. Oh my god, I gotta start over. I don't even know how to. It's like when somebody steals everything out of your medicine cabinet. You don't know what was in there. You knew it was medicine, but you don't know exactly which ones. So that's my problem. I don't know what medicine's missing, but I know the whole shelf's empty. So let it be to the universe that maybe that needed to happen. But that's why I brought some stories along, is because these are some things that you might have heard, and if you might have heard it, then awesome. It's always different the second time around. And if you haven't heard it, then yay! So we're going to make up for some lost medicine and kind of wrap up a couple stories all in one little video. And then don't forget tonight, I'm having a Beat the Boredom chat with you guys. It's an open Q&A, and there's nothing you can't talk about. If you guys want to ask questions, ask questions. If you want to ask questions about all the stuff that perplexes you, if some people ask questions about goats, some people ask questions about spirits, and how do I hear them, and what do I see, and where does God parlay in all of this, and all the way down to 3D with my spouse because of this, or, you know, open up to the human experience. It's not like we ain't all haven't had that drink you're drinking, or we're not gonna have that drink you're drinking. And that's part of the porch too, and to realize real empathy here, that we're all gonna sit in a lazy Susan, birds and ants and birds. And that's why I'm so transparent to you, is here, look at the things I've done. Oh, I'll call them out first, proud not proud, but hey, you got me where I am, and that was my divine medicine. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got their own path. All roads lead to Rome. I think the first story, I'm going to get I got a couple. We could just spin the little wheel here like we're on a show, you know, like it lands on. I got a couple stories. One called Kids Dinner, the other one called A Middle, Codfish, Catfish, and one about my dog Marley. And I've got a story about, it's not a real person. The real person's name was Johnny something or another, and I never learned their name. But that Johnny something or another taught me grace. And so I nicknamed that story Johnny Grace. So, you know, we'll just pick a story. Let's start out with Johnny Grace, because I feel like that's the one you guys were screaming at me. So let me get my coffee and my stuff. So, hey, y'all, go get your stuff. Lenny, they don't have anything like, you know. Okay. Because we're casual. We're casual. I've hung my reverend hat on the wall right now. I still have a heart for the Lord. Don't have to be perfect. Alright, Johnny Grace. So, kick this. This is like almost 4 or 5 years ago. I was, I'll leave out how I got involved with this person, like, in my 3D life path, okay? How they ended up in my life. And this was not a sexual relationship at all. This person offered me a job, and I took the job. And the job was rebuilding a 1984 Bronco and sanding it down and repainting it. And I had just learned how to wet sand and paint cars, and I figured out I had a knack for it. I found out I had a knack for it. So to press back against a lot of the roles that women play as single moms, I didn't want to anymore, so I went the complete opposite, which is what people do. As soon as they let go of one restraint in their life, they literally pendulum swing all the way over, and then they have to learn some equilibrium. It's like when you first find your voice inside you, you're like telling everybody that you're the boss. Oh, you cut in front of me, but that's not right. You didn't put your buggy back. You know, you're just speaking, and you gotta come to an equilibrium, so it takes time. But I was in a situation where this person, I think he was like 20, 29, rather a young fella, he had hired me to help him work on this restore of a 1984 Bronco, make it look like a Hot Wheel car. We even had a little model, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, this would be awesome. Now, I don't know this person, I don't love this person, I don't necessarily like this person, I'm working for this person, and that's it. And I don't know much about them. I'm in the shop for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, before I realized that this person's life, I must have just showed up right when the wrecking ball like goes through this person's life, okay? So one day I have to hear about how his girlfriend left him of like 5 years. Ooh, that's really sad. My bad. And how he was going to propose, and now that's not going to happen. So he's like super, super Eeyore. And then right after that, this guy's vehicle just blows engine, right? So now he's making things my emergency because I have a car. And I'm learning requirements in my life, so I said no. Next thing I know, because of the lack of the car, he was actually like a mobile mechanic. So then he had his job, which leads to other messes in life, like I can't pay my bills, I got evicted from my apartment. So now he's like, you know, within 5 weeks, I just... he's now like sleeping in the shop office, and I can start to tell that I'm not retarded. And, so I asked him, I'm like, what is going on? Why are you sleeping in this dirty, filthy office? I thought, you know, what's... So he explains to me all that which has transpired in the last 2 weeks and how his life is completely burned down. And I told him, I was like, well, that's too bad. Because in my mind, I'm learning, I had just got through with a whole summer of somebody, like, making me fall off my ladder. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Remind me. Meaning I didn't put up requirements and I let somebody just pull me off my ladder. And that's never a good idea. You can love people, but stay on your own ladder. Do not let them pull, and knock you off. So if you kind of can understand what I'm talking about. So I was in a season of learning to not get knocked off my ladder. So I know to tell this guy, hell no, your emergencies are not my problem. Look at me, self-love. I am not falling off my ladder. I have humanity, but I'm not falling off my ladder. So I went home. I'm telling you, my relationship with God was alive back then too. So, because sometimes, most of the time, God will tell me stuff that I am totally against. I'm like, you have to go get somebody else. I quit. He literally, I think I pulled into my driveway and barely got out of my car, and it hit me like a light. And I knew it was from God, because I was, learning to hear Him. I can hear you. You can't say no to that. You can't deny it and be like, I thought you were Morgan Freeman, though. Yeah, it's not going to work, okay? God actually told me, for 9 days, offer Him a place to stay. And I'm like, my house, 9 days? I slammed my car door. I was so mad at my holy dad, because I know where I got it. I didn't get that from my own brain. And you feel the fire of it. So in the Bible it talks about the spiritual fire. You guys know a few times in your life where you feel the fire to do something, and you just do it because you're being pressed, pushed, whatever it is. Call it what you may. I was feeling like my bones were literally on fire and I was going to displease God, and I had all this weight on me all of a sudden, like if you don't do it, no, I don't know, something worse than no dinner. So I was like, oh my God, I just knew I had to do this. And I'm like, shit, this person, yuck. You know what I mean? They're not even like hygienically up to par. I don't want them, and I don't know them. This is dangerous, God. And God's like, I won't let nothing happen to you. Oh, great. This is nice. So I actually went to this person, and of course he's cuddled up in the shop, and the car build is done. So I offered him a place to stay for 9 days, and I asked God. I said, why not 3 days? Why 9? And Jesus said, because you're going to run out of patience. 9 is pressing you 3 extra miles, and you thought you'd go. I'm really going to test you. 9 days. Because 7, anybody can kind of do a week of anything. Anybody can kind of do 72 hours of anything. And I thought, yeah, that's true. And he goes, it's pressed in excellence to do 9 days of something. And I'm like, damn, you're hardcore. So I invited this person to my house to shower for the first time in Comet knows when, and have a hot meal and sleep on my couch once I put down like the rubber, tarp and whatever. I was not happy, let me tell you, about having this person in my house. And in fact, I had told my ex-husband, we live 15 minutes down the road, our children are alternating, days, and we see each other very often every day. I even told him at the time, I was like, hey, you can't come over with the kids for at least 9 days. I gotta house this dude, God said. And that makes me look crazy. But it's for those ego moments that you peel off your own ego and you just hand it to God. Didn't He do that at the cross? He peeled off His own flesh and gave it to you. So, He's going to ask the same. So where are you willing to, cut deep, get bloody, rip some stuff off, and then here it goes, pound of flesh. So, this person starts living in my home for 9 days. Well, completely narcissistic. It's all of a sudden my fault that their car doesn't work. I'm not making ads for them. I'm not using my car to give them rides to go be a mobile mechanic, which ties me to my truck all day. And I don't have that much money at the time either. We were both done with the build and waiting on payday, which did happen, but we were in that lull. So I realized that I got to get rid of him, but I can't because God code 9 days. I need to make some money too, shit. So I made sure that we were at work, that I had this person in the passenger seat, I'm driving, and we're finding mobile mechanic work. Now that worked because he made some money, yay, he gave me half that, it was fair, really no big problem. But the thing is, this person develops, staff by the 4th or 5th day that he's in my house. And not to mention, energetically, him and I are oil and water. We are not getting along. So it's not like I could kick him out, and it's not like I could disgrace him for being a leper. Okay, I just couldn't. Jesus wouldn't allow that. So I used my own money, and I went and got this person their medicine, brought it back. They were getting well. Okay, we're like at 7 days. Oh my God, I'm dying over here. Can he leave now? And he keeps telling me every day after here, it's my fault. My fault. He doesn't have more money. I mean, this person was just obtuse with it. I mean, it was all I could stand. Anybody else, including myself, would have kicked this self-centered, non-gratuitous person out of my house. Like, what are you doing? But I'm telling you, he was there because of the 9-day code that God told me to be obedient to. And here's the neat thing that happened. On the I think it was the 9th, it was it was the 8th day afternoon. It literally was. It was the 8th day afternoon. Now, he's helped himself to a bowl of cereal, and he's standing in my living room, wearing his clothes, and but they're washed because he's used my washer and dryer. He's clean because he's used my shower. He's eating my food. I don't have a lot of cash. I'm away from my kids for this 9-day stupid stint. He's just a blaming, yucky person. We know, ... While he's standing there eating this cereal, he literally has some milk running down his scraggly 29-year-old beard. And he's telling me how it's my fault that I don't believe in him enough that he could be successful. No, stop. I didn't even go deal with that. At that moment, I was like, oh my God. I walked out of the house because I was just seeing red. I was fuming. And like I said, I don't even know, I don't know him that well. So I walked out of the house, and before I even took it up with God, I heard God tell me, lesson done. Like Nanny McPhee, you know what I'm saying? Lesson over. And I even questioned it for a moment, and he's like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I'm mad. And I was actually complaining to my Holy Father, Holy Spirit. I was complaining to him right there at that moment, pacing my driveway in anger, headed to the garage to go kick some shit. I was telling him, Jesus, are you kidding? Have you seen the way he acted? He's in there slurping up cereal, telling me it's my fault that I don't believe in him. And Jesus goes, that's how people do me. That's how people do me. That's how you do me. How you used to do me, minus a second right now and for every minute forward. You stand in my house, eating, drinking my sacrifice, telling me that it's my fault that you don't believe in me. Or that it's my fault that your life hasn't equated. I'm giving, I'm right here giving in the face of someone who's completely non-gratuitous. And a lot of us act like Johnny did right there with Jesus Christ. We're standing there with his food dripping off of our chin in his house by mere grace, yelling at him that it's his fault. Or you took something from me. You took so-and-so from me. You took my job from me. You took my child from me. You took my golden years. You took my dreams. You broke my expectations. We do this to God. We yell at him. And at that moment, I was like, that's why I had to do this. Wow. So I literally had only made it like 30 foot down my really long driveway. And I turned around to go back in the house. And I'm not shitting you, not making this up, not making it up. Johnny was gone. Now, I'm not saying he's an angel. He did not just grow wings and go poof and make it a cute little Walt Disney story. That's not what happened. He had one bag in my house. So I know what he did. He grabbed his bag and he took off walking, I'm sure. But the moment I got the lesson that was being cooked up for me is the moment the lesson left. And it was actually 8 days and an afternoon. So on the 9th morning, I woke up and cleaned and disinfected my house, but was relieved of the weight of what that was. So I'm just That's a heck of a story, right? Anyway, I'm going to take a little break here. So like I said, I don't know the guy's last name. I know his name was Johnny, so I nicknamed him Johnny Grace, because he taught me grace. Real grace. Not doing something for somebody because they're supposed to be nice to you, which he was in my house room like crap. You should be thankful. You know, so I'm giving, hoping to get back, expecting to get back, and learned real hard that when we give out true grace, you love even though they don't deserve it. And I don't know, I'm not capable of that just yet. I'm still growing and knowing my parts. But I know a man who is. And if you put that in perspective, it takes a big man to keep loving someone who is literally short-sighted, narrow-sighted, and ungrateful. And I pledge us not to dare treat Jesus the way that Johnny Grace... Don't be Johnny Grace. Don't be Johnny Grace. That took a little bit to get out. Look at that. Earrings just jumping out of my ear. Some other videos I deleted that had a great message, and they were just off of my life, and I know that gets kind of boring, but this is why this is like a storyteller's edition. So, raising kids, this is like, again, 4 or 5 years ago, raising kids. I don't think I had my oldest kid was like 5, so they ate chicken fingers, milk, and spaghetti every day of the week. So there I was again, single mom, small rent-a-house, you know, licking my wounds from real life and cooking my kids spaghetti a lot. And one night in particular, my son kept returning to the doorway of the kitchen. He's like, "Is it ready? Is it ready?" I'm like, "No." "Is it ready?" "No." 30 minutes later, "Is it ready?" No. So the more he comes in crying, the more I'm like a lion, I guess. So, "Is it ready?" "No." And we did this back and forth for a while until he finally came in there. And I'm not this way anymore. God's really healed a lot of good things in me. But I slammed the spatula down, and I'm like, "Look, it'll be ready when it's ready. Have I ever not made you dinner?" And I have always made them dinner, you know. I'm like calendar like that. So as soon as he turned around to leave, Jesus was like, I guess Jesus was cooking spaghetti with me because he smacked me in the back of the head, and he was all, you know, "Did you listen to what you just said?" And I was like, "Yes." You're mad at him. You're not really mad, but you're frustrated at him because he wants dinner and he keeps checking, like you, the girl that keeps pulling the carrots up every day to see if they're growing, then putting them back. "What are you waiting on in me?" You know, Jesus is asking me, "What are you waiting on in me?" And I'm like, dinner like a son of a gun is what I'm waiting. I'm waiting on good, man. I'm waiting on that good stuff in my life. I'm ready to bring it. And I've been waiting a while. And he's like, "Have I ever not the same? Have I ever not made you dinner?" Got me. Dang, this guy's good. So, and then my son comes back in one more time. And now calmly I say, "Look, bud, dinner will be ready when it's ready. Maybe like 10 more minutes. I can't give it to you right now because if I did, you'd get sick. The hamburger's not really done. Please go to the living room, conveniently located in front of a huge TV and some Nintendos. It's comfortable in there. Go in there and wait it out, you know. Boss, have I ever not cooked him dinner?" So, anyway, again, so I go back to cooking, and I swear Jesus didn't leave. He's still there, and he smacked me on the back of the head again, and he's like, "Did you hear yourself a second time?" I'm like, dang with this. Yes, I did hear myself. And he said to me, "You wait on me cooking you a good manna. You wait on me to bring you a miracle. You wait on me to bring you love, a great career. You wait on me to bring great change in your life. And you're stagnant and you know you've like hit a plateau and you're waiting on change, something to come in. And you're praying to me for that manna, you know?" And he's like, "And the reason I don't give it to you just yet is because it ain't done yet. And if I gave it to you right now, it would make you sick. It's not totally for you yet." You know what I'm saying? So the same thing that I told my son was the same thing that Jesus was telling his daughter. And it's not too far from home. So, and he's like, "And where did you tell your son to go?" And I'm like, "To the living room where there's a TV and a Nintendo, and I'm still cooking." And Jesus is like, "Exactly. And look at your house. Look at your house. Yes, it's not the biggest house on the block, but aren't you really peaceful here? Don't you have everything from the things you like for comfort, want, and need, all the way down to your coffee and your kids and your dog? You got a great car. You got safe locks and doors. You're warm. Don't you have stuff too?" Aren't you comfortable in the place I put you, on the couch of peace? All right, yeah, you're right again. I definitely have been blessed by you, and I see it and I feel it every day, that a lot of people in my position wouldn't have lived in so much comfort and peace that I did. So I knew that I was covered in God's glory. So I was like, yep, I am on a peace couch, and I'm waiting for my meal the same, and I get it. So it's just to show you how simple that your corrective self will talk to you. It's your own interpersonal voice. It's you. But it's kind of that parental controls inside of you is actually just Jesus. And when you hear autocorrection happening to you, like what happened to me at the stove, it's you're being trained by the Holy Spirit. And like I said, it's not like I heard Jesus talking or, Morgan Freeman echoing or none of that. It was my own personal inner monologue that was just saying these things very fast and understanding the reflection. So you come up higher. And Jesus is a great counselor that way. He's like secret, he's like secret about it. So there's that about kids and dinner. Just keep waiting. He knows what he's doing. He'll bring you dinner in divine timing. And divine timing is always now. And I know you're like, well, that's not happening. Somewhere in the future, it's still going to be your now, so it's relative divine timing. The other one's kind of important, and they have to share the same message, Magnadoodle. I loved him. Jesus keeps using my kids, but hey, I'm a mom when it shows. I had a 3-year-old at the time with the seatbelt thing going on in the back seat, and he had a Magnadoodle. And it was, that magnet toy with the pen on a string and whatever. You feel me. 1990s. So he had one of those in the back seat. He's 3 years old, and it was his favorite toy. And it was time to get up and get out of the vehicle, which I swear for kids, my kids are like molasses. You pull to the house, you get out. They're in there for I don't know, they're writing letters. I don't understand. They just don't get out of the car. So I was teaching independence to my 3-year-old, and I was teaching him how to exit the vehicle all on his own. And mommy's helped so much, 60-40 assist. So I opened the door, and my hands are actually full of groceries, and I unbuckle his seatbelt for him. Now, it's already half slid up his belly. Well, he has the toy. So now, it's not even caught up. It's just that optic eye. The seatbelt is now laying on top of the strings of the toy. So in a 3-year-old mind, he just optic eye sees that and says, mess, not tangled. They really weren't. All he had to do was continue in that belt when it went across him, and his toy was not tangled at all. But that's not the point. The way that it was is not the way that my son saw it. And how many Christians right now, we following God, the way that it is not the way that we're seeing it. So what we might see as a mess as a knot truly is not. Might we just have to stand up? So my kid taught me this just in that split second. He started freaking out and crying. Oh my God, get that mom beat me face on, my toy. And since my hands are full and I'm working on verbal commands training independence, I'm making eye contact with my son, and I said, look, you gotta calm down. Of course, not hearing that. I have to go, calm down! Okay, now I got him. And I'm like, just stand up, you're free, stand up. He swore up and down that that's the point of the story. He had a Magnadoodle in this hand, and he had the pen in this hand. They're already attached with a string. Ooh, hear me there. They're already attached with a string. He wouldn't let go of either side of the toy because he thought that if he let go, then he was going to lose the toy forever, or some 3-year-old object permanence, So if he let go of one side, he wasn't going to have it in its entirety. And its entirety is what made it special. So, but he's trapped. He's got the seatbelt between him. And that is so much how we, too, struggle right there like a child in front of the Lord. We have things that are really not tangling us up at all. They're just kind of small restraint belts. They do come off. And son, he inadvertently ended up doing it. But if he would have just let go of the toy, realizing that it's still connected with a string here, he didn't lose nothing. It's all in your mind. This is still connected. It's still a whole. You still own it. And you're free. So there's that, I'm going to stop explaining stuff there because it's kind of, redundant. There's a huge message there. And again, another blueprint. Spin the wheel again, boss. I breathe smoke. It's my other superpower. I think I'm about to wrap up an hour. The only reason I'm also doing this too is because I'm being obedient in Christ. He asked me today to go to give an hour. He's got a thing with hours. Just an hour. So he asked me today to be obedient and to be, to go give it an hour on the porch. And I thought, alrighty, because I got an 11 o'clock boredom chat to do tonight, and I've got another piece that I'm working on for God that's really using a lot of cells in my brain and a lot of energy. So I didn't want to start something here and have something big over there as well, but we're just going to flow with the water. I wanted to tell the catfish story, but that's kind of old, and we can get to it later. This one was just in last night, and it happened on the couch, and I know. I'm supposed to start turning the camera around right when those divine moments happen so everybody can see me walk through it with Jesus. That's the thing. I'm still that I can't do it. It's hard. I'm learning. I've spent the last 4 or 5 years doing this in the peaceful quiet of in the comfort of my home with one living witness, and I'm not used to turning the camera on and inviting people onto a very intimate relationship, out loud walk that I have with Jesus Christ. So, but I'll keep you up to date as far as we're concerned, because I know that when I don't say it, I'm remiss for not saying it. Last night, Jesus was talking, and, I started talking out loud what he was saying, and when I do that, he just kind of does a holy takeover, and the next thing you know, he's just kind of, holy river water. So last night, he was discussing, in a cowboy way, how when a calf is caught up in a barbed wire fence, or any fence, even if it's the whole fence with all of its strands, or if it's just one line of barbed wire, when a calf, or any heifer, gets caught up in a fence line, that's a cowboy that kind of walks up to it, puts his hands on his hip, kicks dirt, and says, you know what? That's going to be a heyday to untangle. That's going to be a day. And ain't that true? So, to free the calf, there's going to be wailing, and there's going to be crying, and there's going to be bleeding, and it's not going to be pretty. And Jesus was using that metaphor last night to explain to me that his living body, his living church here on earth, a living, breathing church of him, okay, his church, that is the heifer, the speak in this metaphor, his church is intertwined with things of the world. It's kind of like we're married to the wrong man. We're kind of married to the world, and the world is of the adversary, and we're not married to the Spirit, which is everything that's not in this world. Hello, spiritual, outside the world. Yes, that's where Jesus is. And so he was allowing me to understand again, and he's done this, 3 or 4 or 5 times in many different ways, but he keeps saying, use different words, but he tells the same truth to me. And the same truth is that his woman with the wrong man, and he's going to come through and cause a great divide, like a great divorce, and kind of oil water, pull his living church off of the bondage of the marriage to the world that she has, and put her in a spiritual union with him. And revelations or whatever, that's just the truth I've been told. He's got to come get his girl. And so that idea was being played out last night when he was talking to me about the heifer and showing me the fence and what it's like. He was like, that's my girl, that's my bride, that's my sheep, that's heifer, cow. I'm a cowgirl, so it kind of comes out that way. But he was saying, when I come get you, I have to untangle you from the entanglements of the world, the mindset they've given you, the false value system they've handed you, the quiet your soul and live in your mind kind of idea they've given you. I've got to break these things. I have to pull you away from. So he intertwined together. It's going to hurt like hell to pull this apart. So, air to caution, I just thought that was a nice blurb and to keep you, and that's all he gave me. So once I got that, I was like, great. I looked at I looked over at the Living Witness is always a friend of mine who's around when this is going on, and I looked over and I was like, what do I do with that? Like, it's a nice blurb and that sounds really good. What's the rest of the story? And I don't know yet. This is how the Spirit works. I'll get like a big thing, and so I told Jesus, like, I don't know what to do with that, but I'll just put it in my cargo pocket. Because I'm sure in a couple of days, he'll add to it and add to it and add to it. And by 5, 6, 7 days, maybe next week, I'll have a whole thing about this, whatever he wants to talk about. So, and this will be weaved into the nice little holy blanket that he weaves. And if I don't say it, you guys won't see the patches coming together. And that's important to see. It validates the Lord and what he's doing. So, anyway, that's that. I think I'm going to be off here. I'm going to go take a break. I'll come back at 11 o'clock Eastern time. and do Q&A. Like I said, there's nothing we can't talk about. I love to be involved. I like to conversate, and I like to get to know you guys. So peace out, much love, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.